Sass and Bide designers Sarah Jane Clarke and Heidi Middleton have cut ties with the label, which brings a close to their 15-year collaboration.
Clarke and Middleton would stay on to oversee the creative direction of their eponymous label until their departure in 2014, allowing them to refocus on their young families and also other ventures. Despite leaving, the designers spoke of the future of the brand and their new vision.
So my name's Paula McKenzie. I'm currently the Group Managing Director for 3 brands, being Sass and Bide, Marks and David Lawrence, all 3 really iconic Australian brands, so lucky to be in that position. I've worked with many great brands in my career. I've worked with Sass and Bide in the past as well, so I've got worked with both Heidi and SJ, and also worked with people who are now sort of really moving forward with their brands. So with Marks and Mark Keary, a fantastic team of people who have then gone on to be involved in Manning Cartel, Jack and Jack, Basic, a real incubator of talent, and I've found that to be a similar thing in other brands I've worked with. In Sass and Bide, a similar thing where we've got a lot of people who we worked with are now off doing their own thing in the industry. I started back at East Sydney College many, many years ago with the wonderful Nick Huxley, and that's how I first started. And the pressure would have been for them, they're having to do the 4 collections a year, and the expectation on a brand that is performing the way it is, to continue with that performance. So having to be, you know, wildly creative and incredibly successful and come up with really new ideas that had a lot of time and effort in each garment. So a lot of print or embellishment or beautiful pattern making, and to have to do that consistently would have been incredibly high pressure. Obviously, from a financial point of view, as you start getting bigger, you start growing, and then the costs of your business also become bigger, and then that becomes a bit of a burden. So you've got more workforce, you've got more stores. The machine just seems to be constantly hungry, and for people like Heidi and SJ, who are genuine and very authentic people, and for Heidi, who's in her soul was about creating something really beautiful and unique, to do that in a machine that is constantly demanding would be quite stressful, I would think. But they as people did not bring that into the office. They were extremely professional, but also really caring and kind to everyone. So it wasn't, it didn't feel like a high pressured environment as such. It was very much about a family.
So that's why I think both Sarah Jane and I, even since leaving Sass and Bide, you know, and having had a chance to reflect on that, it just didn't make any sense to start a new brand within that same business model. So yeah, there's huge amounts of pressure. I know we sold to Myer in 2013, and we probably could have sold even a year or two earlier, because at that point it was just, you know, working ridiculous hours, 7 days a week, non-stop. There was no time to even try and be creative, because we were just chasing our tails and trying to make everyone happy. And, you know, at the end of the day, it was, yeah, I know I felt, you know, felt like I was close to sort of burnout point. And, you know, I did have a period of time where I was unwell, you know, in 2007. And I directly link becoming unwell to that pace of the business, and that I really feel like that was the probably the root, the cause of being unwell, becoming unwell.
David Briskin was a part owner, and he was the CEO who I reported into. And what we really did is just work on building the ranges, opening stores, getting the brand performing in those stores, but also representing the brand with VM, in wholesale, and in my concession stores. So what I really took from that experience, Sass and Bide was absolutely at its peak at this point, and it was really just, you know, in the international market, performing extremely well. The girls, Heidi and SJ, were doing a great job. They had a unique approach to what they were doing, and it really resonated. So definitely from a very artistic, creative background. So it wasn't really just about churning clothes, it was about designing and that true creativity around making beautiful product. And that really resonated with the Australian consumer and the international consumer. They were lovely to work with, and that ethos of being really decent and caring people went right way through the business, and it was really important to them that that was what the energy of the business was, and that's how we treated our customers and the consumers as well. So it was a very, you know, high performing and in many ways highly stressed, I would think, but also extremely calm and enjoyable and supportive environment.
It's a shame, because the brand, I mean, it still exists, but it's just nothing like, you know, the original Sass and Bide was a brilliant brand, yeah.
Sarah Jane and Heidi is really beautiful people that I met them through David Jones. You know, yeah. I didn't go to see their first show either at the Fashion Week, but as a lot of designers did, you know, David Jones actually had a great runway show and then after parties, and so that's when actually we got on very well, Yeah. And then what was really lovely about actually, like, Sarah and Heidi was, I just felt actually really a sense of respect from them. The fact that actually, I suppose actually I started actually being myself in business and showing collection in Paris, like late 90s. So before they become known, and they were actually I admire their success, but I think I find actually we had a mutual respect, which was really lovely. Yeah.
So the brand's DNA back then were, the words we used were the strong, the beautiful and the obscure. And they're still words that we have in the brand DNA today, because they encompass what is different about Sass when you compare it to other brands in the market in Australia and overseas. So there really was this strength of woman, and it was very much about a confident woman. And that's, that was them as well, and they epitomised that. They stood together as two women in the industry and achieved an enormous amount. Beautiful because, as I said, there was a really strong focus on creating beautiful garments, and obscure because there was the unexpected in what they did and in little bits about, the garments. I remember there was a fantastic jacket and it just had shells embroidered all over the shoulders, It was fantastic, and shows where Heidi had big horse heads on top of the girls, and, it was a sense of fun, but not quirky, but definitely that confidence and strength, and a little bit irreverent in some ways. So that's what they did that was unique and was different, and that's was the heart and soul.
And despite the change in ownership, the legacy of the founders, Sass and Bide, remains intact. The brand's innovative designs, unconventional approach to fashion, and commitment to pushing boundaries have left an indelible mark on the industry. In 2023, the brand had passed its 20-year milestone, something few Australian fashion brands have ever managed to do. It's a rare thing, particularly for Australia, to see a brand thrive beyond the life of its founders. Like long-standing European houses, much of the history and tradition is kept alive through contact with pieces that have been around since the brand's origins. A vault or an archive is a key tool used to record and protect and inspire future guardians of the brand's legacy. Sass and Bide had the foresight to stow away these pieces for the posterity. The vault of their handcrafted pieces goes to the heart of one of the key legacies Sarah Jane and Heidi wanted to instill. And their work with the Ethical Fashion Initiative in Africa meant that local artisans were offered respectful work within the fashion industry, restoring traditional techniques and keeping the culture alive. Art, culture, travel were key inspirations for the designers. So this enabled them a direct line to their creative source, while contributing to the quality and depth of the industry and its craftsmen. Middleton and Clarke's vision, creative genius, combined with their ability to build a global fashion empire, and their story, immortalised in this film series, is sure to inspire future generations of designers and fashion enthusiasts to embrace individuality, creativity and fearlessness.